Rembrandt van Rijn was one of puppet artists of Jesus Christ after 1500 years. His works were created on 2D photographic technology along with the ones of Leonardo da Vinci and Michelangelo Buonarroti in the Renaissance. Here is another fact which reinforces my theory. Very interestingly, NASA USA writes as follows. A combined historical and scientific approach is applied to ancient reports of what might today be called unidentified flying objects. Many conventionally explicable phenomena can be weeded out, leaving a small residue of puzzling reports. These fall neatly into the same categories as modern UFO reports, suggesting that the UFO phenomenon, whatever it may be due to, has not changed much over 2 millennia. Throughout recorded history, reports of what we today might call unidentified flying object have been made and preserved. Then I, Hiroshi Hayashi, would like to ask NASA like this. So what? It doesn't matter whether it is intentional or not. Restoration of a painting or an alteration of it destroys its value as evidence. Here I show you some of the examples in this video, the examples which are not any other acts than profanities. In Greek mythology, Hermaphroditus was the son of Aphrodite and Hermes. According to Ovid, born a remarkably handsome boy with whom the water nymph Thermesis fell in love, and she prayed to be united with him forever. A god, in answer to her prayer, merged their two forms into one and transformed them into an androgynous form. His name is compounded of his parents' names, Hermes and Aphrodite, and he was one of the Erote. His name is the basis for the word hermaphrodite. Hello, Seri-san and my friends in USA. I would like to introduce myself a bit. I am Hiroshi Hayashi, Hamamatsu-city, Japan, and I am now at age 68 this year in 2016. I studied English in Melbourne University in Australia in 1970, but I haven't used it in my daily life after that for almost more than 40 years since then. Then I am afraid or scared if I can explain about my ideas properly in English here in this video. But I will try, or I feel I should do. First of all, I would like to say that it's easy to get surprised and say, it is incredible or unbelievable when we see something or know something which is strange or unusual. But a more important thing is to unify this fact and then to weave up some sort of theories out of these facts. I mean, otherwise we would get lost in the labyrinth of mysteries and repeat the same mistakes all the time again and again. Anyway, I will show you USA in NASCAR in this video, and I think I have to explain about my Hiroshi Hayashi's line theory before I talk about USA in NASCAR. Through this video, you may know that this word has been calculated by aliens whom you may call gods, and we, human race, have got another version of history which has been hidden secret behind. It is another version of history which has been warped since the beginning days of human history. Hiroshi Hayashi's line theory from Easter Island to Giza Plateau, Egypt. According to one of the original Buddhist scripture or Sutra, Lakana Sutta, Buddha had 32 physical characteristics in appearance, in which it has been pointed out that Buddha had blue eyes with blue hair. What is common sense for human beings? If I say here that the earth is flat, you may say it's ridiculous. But if I say that the earth is round to the people of 1,000 years ago, they may also say it's ridiculous. Because it is our and their common sense. Then common sense is a shared knowledge as well as a shared ignorance of a collective. That is why Albert Einstein writes that common sense is a collection of prejudices acquired by age 18. Or common sense is what tells us the earth is flat, as Stuart Chase writes in his book Language in Thought and Action. Here in this video, I sincerely would like to ask you if you are really convinced that Buddha was a man or a male. Before you say it's ridiculous, please give me 20 minutes to share. After 20 minutes, you may feel something changing very rapidly in your mind and heart. According to Wikipedia and the legend in China, the classic mountains and seas, Fuxi and Noah were the original human who lived on the mythological Kunlun mountain. One day they set up two separated piles of fire. The fire eventually became one. Under the fire, they decided to become husband and wife. Fuxi and Noah used clay to create offsprings, and with the divine power, they made the clay figures come alive. These clay figures were the earth's human beings. This is a legend of human creation in China, and the same story of a legend can be read in the myth of Adapa in Mesopotamia. The myth tells us that Adapa was the king of the city of Eridu, Adapa who was created as his first son by one of the ancient gods Enki or Prometheus in Greek mythology. Adapa was also created out of clay or mud as a human being, and the story bears a very close resemblance with the one in China. Adapa literally stands for clay or mud in Mesopotamia. In the Genesis myth in the Old Testament, man takes knowledge for himself by eating of the tree, and also in the Mesopotamian myth, the god Enki grants Adapa, or his first son, knowledge in the process of creation. Please note that both a man created by Fuxi and a man created by Enki were created out of clay or mud in the same way over in China and Mesopotamia. This is a very important point of the story for today. Then I, Hiroshi Hayashi, understand that Adapa, created by Enki, is Adam himself, And the city of Eridu is Eden in the Genesis chapter 3. Humans were created by aliens whom you may call gods. Here is its evidence and proof. That is to say that the proof is in the fortune-telling system now we call Hake, which consists of 64 numbers or DNA barcodes created by Fushi and Noah. An artist named Leonardo da Vinci was a concocted artist in the Renaissance who did not exist. I, Hiroshi Hayashi, here again claim that an artist named Leonardo da Vinci did not exist. Leonardo da Vinci was a disguised Luca Signorelli, another puppet artist for Jesus Christ after 1500 years. Here I show you its evidence to prove this fact. First of all, I have to apologize for my poor English. And I say here that Luca Signorelli was 7 years older than Leonardo da Vinci when Leonardo was alive in the Renaissance. Both are known as painters, as you know, but they are one single man with two different names, and Signorelli and Leonardo were one single man who worked for Jesus Christ after 1500 years as his obedient servant. Their self-portraits are its evidence. I mean, Luca Signorelli and Leonardo were the same one man, and they did not produce, as a matter of fact, any paintings by themselves, or most possibly they were assisted in some way by Jesus Christ after 1500 years. And then some other mysteries I have had are to be solved uh, or cleared away with this fact that Signorelli and Leonardo were one single man. First, I noticed a very strange coincidence that Luca Signorelli and Leonardo da Vinci bear a very close resemblance with each other. They are alike so much while I was examining two self-portraits of them. Both of them are so much alike, as you see here, to each other in every part of their faces except their noses and Leonardo's beard. Here I show you how they are, and please make sure by yourselves how much they are alike to each other, so much, or I can't recognize or distinguish any differences in between them, and about which I say that they seem to be the same one person, though Luca in his self-portrait looks older than Leonardo, about by 7 years old in their self-portraits. As a matter of fact, very strangely, Luca was 7 years older than Leonardo when Leonardo was alive in the Renaissance. This fact indicates that, also very strangely, these two portraits were created at the same time in those days. And this is a very important point for today's video, and I once again ask you to make sure by yourselves they are as they are now you see here in this video. They are more the same I say, more than the same, more the same anyway than I say they look alike to each other. Of course, both Signorelli and Leonardo had, as far as I have examined, no blood relation or blood relationship, is that okay to say, with each other, and I say it is more than a coincidence that both of them are alike to each other. And I have examined in the last, as I have examined in the last few months, Luca and Leonardo had almost the same religious agenda against Roman Catholic or Church of Maria, and both of them painted the same old man in their paintings, whose name is Saint Jerome or I understand that Saint Jerome is Jesus Christ after 1500 years in their paintings. I thought it was just a sort of coincidence, most possibly Leonardo was influenced by Luca or vice versa. Whatever it is due to, the fact is that both Luca and Leonardo have a very similar religious agenda as well as a very close resemblance in their self-portraits. However, as I have already explained and told in the last videos in the past, it's easy to get surprised and say, "Oh, strange," or something like that, when you see something unusual or strange. But a more important thing is to draw a sort of a theory out of this fact, to weave up a logical theory from among them by asking yourself why and why all the time. Then you have to step forward to make a challenge against the mysteries. To make a long story or complicated story short, I said that Leonardo was a copy of Signorelli in the Renaissance. I understand. But the question is that, however, which one of them is a copy of which one of them? I mean, which one of them is a master of which one of them? You understand what I mean? Which is a master, or which is a copy or disguised one? The answer seemed very simple, and eventually I found Leonardo was a copy of Signorelli, since Signorelli was born 7 years earlier than Leonardo, and Signorelli died after Leonardo died in 1519. Or, in much proper expression, I say Leonardo was a concocted artist played by Luca at the same time as a copy of Luca Signorelli. I mean, as far as I noticed, Luca was a long nose and beard. Luca with a long nose and beard. I say, you understand? Is Leonardo. I mean, Leonardo is a sort of artist with a long nose and beard of the face of Luca Signorelli. It's a very complicated, isn't it? Or disguised Luca Signorelli himself. Now you understand what I mean here is that there was one single artist whose name was Luca Signorelli. Afterwards, Luca and there used to be one single artist named Luca Signorelli, and afterwards Luca played another part of himself under the name of Leonardo. Of course, for Jesus Christ after 1500 years, as as I told you, his obedient servant. At this moment, I don't know why Luca disguised himself as Leonardo together with himself. There must have been a very reason, I think, between them. But as the fact is that Luca worked with another name of Leonardo da Vinci. Then I like you to make sure that both Luca and Leonardo were the same one person, not two. This is the right beginning of the mystery to solve. But one thing is very clear. That is to say that an artist named Leonardo da Vinci in the Renaissance did not exist. I say here it again that Leonardo da Vinci did not exist in the Renaissance. This is the story that I wanted to tell you in this video. Believe it or not. And I thank you very much for watching. And I just explain a little bit more in this video. Anyway, have a look at this Lucasino lady with big nose, large nose, long nose, with beard. Then this man became Leonardo da Vinci in the Renaissance. So he said, "I am Leonardo." You understand what I mean? So I say Leonardo da Vinci, who was disguised himself as as a man like that, as you see, is Lucasino lady 7 years older than him. And this is a sort of basic sort of database for of the Leonardo da Vinci here, you see here, right? And this is a bit. Also, this is created on 3D computing technology, and the right one was created after the left one, and from the top, middle of top, was modified like this, and the one below it, and then the self-portrait of Leonardo da Vinci was concocted from this process. Anyway, this is a sort of a fake sort of a self-portrait of Leonardo da Vinci. So his death date was also concocted by himself. He died at the age of 67 on May the 2nd in 1519, which was concocted by Leonardo da Vinci, by Jesus Christ after 1500 years. Then you understand what I mean here more concretely in the following videos. It's a bit a long one, but I hope you understand, you watch these videos following, and you understand me more clearly. Anyway, thank you very much again for your watching, and see you again next time. Bye. I say that just a collection of facts is not archaeology. It's just a collection of facts which only can decorate your bookstands in your study, just like printed pictures of ancient times. It does not bring out any stories or lessons, or it does not teach us anything for the future. Then I say that a more important thing is to weave a unified theory which is more logical out of this fact by knowing the history of ancestors for the people who will live in the future. The most fundamental question for humans is this: where did humans come from and where will humans go? Long time ago, when I was a student in Australia, I saw a musical here in which a young man sang like this: "Where is someone who can tell us why we live and die? Where is someone who can tell us why we live and die?" This is the story about it, and ladies and gentlemen, it's my great privilege that I can talk about the mystery here in these two following videos. Hiroshi Hayashi, Hamamatsu-city, Japan. The family tree of Sumerian gods is based on that of Japanese ancient gods. But it's not easy to correlate Japanese ancient gods with Sumerian gods, since both of them have become so much complicated after a long time of history. Here is another door I could step in to solve this mystery.
The Valantish disappearance. On October 21st, 1978, civilian pilot Frederick Valantish was flying his Cessna 182 over the Bass Strait between Victoria and Tasmania. Just after 7 p.m., Valantish contacted Melbourne Flight Service stating a larger aircraft was hovering above him in close pursuit. Melbourne radioed back confirming there was no known aircrafts within the vicinity. But Valantish continued to describe the larger aircraft following him, saying it had 4 bright landing lights and was flying at around 1,000 feet. Was moving closer towards him and acting as if the pilot was toying with him. Suddenly communication was lost to the Cessna after Valantish said,
"That strange aircraft hovering on top of me again. It's hovering and it's not an aircraft."
Officials have determined Valantish was undergoing some sort of disorientation and had actually collided with the ground, and others have theorized he staged this as either a suicide or an attempt to start a new life, creating the UFO story in order to keep people talking. One popular theory is a UFO had been following the Cessna and had either accidentally or purposefully collided with Valantish's plane or had abducted him. Whatever the explanation, Valantish or his crash site were never discovered, and it is assumed he fatally crashed into the water.
Hiroshi Hayashi will present you a video forum on ancient mysteries and wonders of the world. Today's story is about Malaysia Airlines flight number 370. The plane was a scheduled international passenger flight that disappeared on March 8, 2014, while flying from Kuala Lumpur International Airport near Kuala Lumpur to Beijing Capital International Airport in Beijing, China. The flight last made voice contact with air traffic control at midnight when it was over the South China Sea less than an hour after takeoff. The aircraft disappeared from air traffic control's radar screens after about 1 hour. Where has it gone? The Westall UFO encounter incident is an event that occurred on April 6, 1966 in Melbourne, Victoria, Australia. Around 11 o'clock a.m., for about 20 minutes, more than 200 student and teachers at two Victorian state schools witnessed an unexplained flying object which descended into a nearby open wide grass field. A man or a woman, or a male or a female? That is a question. Wikipedia writes that an Inari shrine is a Shinto shrine to worship the god Inari or fox god. There are many Inari shrines in Japan. The deity is worshipped also in some Buddhist temples. Inari is a very popular deity with shrines and Buddhist temples located throughout most of Japan. According to a 2007 report from Kakugakuin University, 2,970 shrines are dedicated to Inari. This number includes only Shinto shrines that are registered as religious corporations and part of the Association of Shinto Shrines. If small roadside or field shrines, shrines kept at home or cooperative office, and Buddhist temples were included, the number of it might increase by an order of magnitude. Hiroshi Hayashi, however, says that little is known about Inari and few knows about Inari, what it is and where it originated, though it is so popular here in Japan. I would like to examine Inari in Japan in connection with Hamamatsu in Egypt here in this video. At midnight, sometime in summer 1974, my wife and I happened to see a V-shaped UFO flying over us. It was a most strange experience for us in our life, but today's point is not this. The UFO we saw disappeared into the night sky while it flew away, but as a matter of fact, it did not fly away, but it disappeared as if it had merged itself into the darkness of the night sky, becoming transparent gradually. Why could it do it? Here is my answer, possibly, to this mystery. That is to say that because aliens can reflect light as they wish.
Number 8. The Battle of Los Angeles. In the early stages of America's entrance to the Second World War, Americans were on edge due to the recent attack on Pearl Harbor. Only 2 months following the attack, air raid sirens blared in the Los Angeles area after objects were spotted in the skies over the city. The Los Angeles area was placed on blackout and searchlights illuminated the sky as anti-aircraft fired on what it believed to be Japanese aircraft planning to bomb key targets in the city. The blackout was lifted at 7 a.m. the next morning, and then Secretary of the Navy Frank Knox declared the incident as a false alarm. The famous photograph of the incident shows strange balls of light floating above LA between the searchlight beams. Many ufologists believe these strange lights to be illuminated by UFOs, and the military was firing on extraterrestrial crafts, not Japanese. Whether or not these beings were visiting on hostile intent is a subject of debate in the field, but regardless, the official explanation of war nerves is thought to be a conspiracy meant to keep the true nature of that night a secret. The event was the main inspiration to the 2011 film Battle Los Angeles, which depicts a modern alien invasion